For those of you that were on my live yesterday, we made, and for those that are joining this morning, we made kind of, I would say they're gyros or gyros, but more of a dupe than the traditional thing. And it was delicious. I was telling everybody on the live that I made them for my boyfriend, and the live is posted if you want to check it out and see how it came out. But this morning we are going to be making two dishes actually, one for myself and one for my boyfriend. We're going to start with his. So we're going to be making a breakfast supreme crunch wrap. Dupe, I would say. I always like to have that disclaimer and say that it's a dupe because I am not a professional chef. I just enjoy cooking and trying new things and making healthier versions of foods that I love to eat and that my boyfriend likes to eat. So we're going to be making that. And then we're also going to be making oatmeal, but it's going to be a tiramisu inspired oatmeal dish, and it's high protein. The oatmeal that we'll be using is this one. So this is from the Zigo brand. And you can see here we have 48 grams of this oatmeal will give me 10 grams of protein. And that is what I will be measuring out. But like I said, we're going to be starting out with the breakfast supreme crunch wrap. And then we'll move on to making the oatmeal dish. So we'll crack some eggs. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. So for this, I think I'll do 2 eggs because I have some leftover ground beef that I will be adding into this dish. So that helps to beef up the protein content, which ultimately is the goal. So I guess while I am doing this, I can introduce myself for those of you that are new to my channel. So my name is Chiamaka, and I have a channel here on YouTube called Pockets of Protein. And I made the channel because I am somebody that really does prioritize my health and wellness. I don't show it too much on YouTube just because I leave it for the short form platforms, Instagram, TikTok, where I show more of like the gym content. I decided that for YouTube, I wanted strictly just to be for the food. And my thing with healthy eating, I've always had this resistance to feeling like in order to be healthy, I have to eat like a plain Jane. I'm Nigerian as far as cultural background goes, West African. Like, I love seasonings, I love flavor, I love variety, and I cannot even think to subscribe to the broccoli, brown rice, and ground beef meals for the rest of my life. So I made it a point, and I've continued to make it a point, where I take meals, dishes, concepts of things that I personally enjoy and swap things out, to make it more health conscious, make it such that the dishes are aligned with my fitness goals. Therefore, I don't ever feel like I'm restricting in any kind of rigid way. I still am able to eat the things that I enjoy, just with slight alterations, and I'm seeing progress fitness wise. So that is the base of my channel. It's a cooking channel, but there's definitely emphasis on protein, especially because, like I said, I strength train about 4 to 5 times a week, and therefore I need the protein in order to sustain that kind of working out frequency. So you will see on my channel that there's a lot of recipes there, but there's a focus on protein, whether it's amplifying it with Greek yogurt or ground beef, ground turkey, chicken, eggs, etc. There's a prioritization on that. So if that's something that you feel like, you'd like to be able to be part of and see videos that I come out with, I right now am focusing on short form, or not short form, YouTube shorts at the moment. I do have some long form videos up, but right now I'm just prioritizing short form content overall. So whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, but YouTube Shorts, again, you'll see there's a lot of recipes there, so check it out. And if you feel like, yeah, I dig it, then please subscribe and join the crew. So we have our eggs done here, so now we're just going to go over here and cook them. Let me tweak the camera here so that you can really see what's going on in the pan. And if you have any questions, please, by all means, ask. Chat away. I try to, periodically look at the chat just to make sure that I'm not ignoring anybody. All right. So this eggs on. Let's zoom in so you guys can see what's going on there. We'll just scramble that up. Nothing fancy, just, cook that down. Typically when I do these lives, sometimes I only tend to do one meal just to show you, but I figured, if I'm cooking in general, why not just show the entire, like what I'm making overall versus just one. So as you can tell from the title, for those of you that are just joining, we are making 2 meals today. Okay, the eggs are done. So let's get a bowl. I'm going to keep this pan on low heat because I am going to be using it. I'm just transferring the eggs over. All right. Keep it there. Hold on. Let me just clear out the pan, take off all the little small bits because I'm going to be using it later, and we'll keep the stove on as well. All right, let's switch you guys over here. So now, hi Terrence, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for being here. It's very much appreciated. Okay, so now we're gonna build our breakfast Supreme Crunch dupe. I'm just using eggs, ground beef. We got some cheese here, some shredded cheese. And let me actually get a, where is it? It's like I guess this will do. This is a special sauce from Primal Kitchen. So we'll use this as the base. I'm just checking to make sure that it's not expired because I haven't used it in some time. Okay, September 11, 2025. Okay. Sometimes with spices and sauces, especially if I'm not using them for quite a bit, I always have to check the expiration date, and you should too. All right, so we're gonna just apply a little bit of sauce here. Let me shift you guys over so you can really see what's going on. Okay. And we'll just spread that around. Okay. Then we will add in the eggs we just made. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, at first I was thinking maybe I would just add because the ground beef just came from the fridge. It's a leftover meal prep that I made. I like to make my proteins in bulk just because I find it easier to then make meals. Like when I run out of meal prep, I can make like quick meals with them. So I was going to add the ground beef in here, and then ultimately this will end up going back in the pan, and then maybe some of the heat would warm this, but I'm afraid that it might still be kind of cold. So I'm actually just going to take some of this and heat it up in the microwave and then add it on top of the egg. So I think, yeah, that should be more than enough. Okay, so let's heat this up. We'll just do like, I don't know, do like 25 seconds. While that heats up, we'll add our shredded cheese. Okay, I think that should be okay. Okay, and the ground beef is done. Okay. Add the ground beef. All right. Let's make sure. What I like to do is kind of push them all to the center because I'm going to put a smaller tortilla on top. All right. So now we put a smaller tortilla on top. Let me actually raise this so you guys can really. I always like to make sure you guys can truly see what it is I'm doing. Okay, so we put a smaller tortilla on top. So now I'm going to fold this down, and I'm thinking to fold it like hexagon shaped. So we do it like that. We do it like that. I take my time because I don't want the tortilla to rip. Okay. And I'm using one hand to fold and one hand to keep this in place, to keep the crunch wrap in place. Okay. All right, there we go. And then, if I can, this is what it looks like. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pan sear the bottom in the pan so that it seals off. So let's place this down. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's place it down. Because what I really don't want are the contents spilling out. All right. Now we'll put it back in the pan. We'll probably put just a little bit of oil, again, just to be able to seal off the bottom of the crunch wrap. Oh, just a little bit. I always have to put just enough oil in these stainless steel pans because bread or anything that's bread-like will easily stick and then rip the tortilla, and I don't want that. So yeah, so we'll let that kind of re-warm up a little bit. Excuse me. And then we'll add the crunch wrap to the pan. But let me know, guys, have you guys made this before? Have any of you on this live made this kind of crunch wrap, should I call it a burrito? Have you made it before, and if so, like, how do you make it, or do you make it very similar? Do you swap certain things out? Let me know. It's one of my favorite we're almost 14 minutes into this live, and it's more or less almost done. So it's very quick to make. It's very delicious as well. Yeah, I just want to make sure that this is like hot before we add this in. So while we wait, I'm just going to be cleaning up in the background and prepping for the second thing we'll be making. And I see we have some new people on the live, so we are making a breakfast supreme crunch wrap with tiramisu inspired high protein oatmeal. We're making two things. The breakfast supreme crunch wrap is for my boyfriend. The oatmeal will be for me. I tend to make two different things sometimes. If it's like I want something that's more high protein or low carb, he is not particularly, he's not particular about food. So he'll eat what I make him, so. But I know he's not a fan of oatmeal, so that's why I'm making two different things. All right. All right. So let me get a spatula, and then all right. So let me pick this up. Ooh, I don't want anything to spill. Okay, perfect. And then I just slowly lower it in, like that. Okay, and then what I usually do, just use a spatula, press it down. The pan is still not like as hot as I would like it to be, but that's okay. So I'll let that sit for a few minutes, and then we'll flip it over. Is it just me? I just love a really nice sear. Like when I hear that searing, that searing sound on the pan, I don't know. Maybe it's like the ASMR lover in me. But I love when I cook and you add something to a pan and then like the sear sound, I don't know, makes me happy. But yeah, I'll leave that on again for a few minutes. I have had a situation where I think it was the first time I made this that I flipped it, like attempted to flip it on the opposite side. The bottom had not seared off. Everything came flying out. I was so upset. So I pay particular attention to really let the bottom sit and seal off before flipping it over. Um, Otherwise, it's like the tortilla and everything is useless at that point. You guys are quiet. Does anybody have any questions? Anything? Do you like cooking? Talk to me. I mean, I know you guys are really here to to watch what I'm making, but like, chat with me. Let me know. Or not, and just watch. That's cool too. I know it's at least if you're on the Eastern time zone. It's maybe many of you are also just waking up, so I understand. You just want to sit back and watch. I get that. All right. This is like literally taking forever, but that's okay. Well, in the meantime, let's bring out our scale. We might as well use our time wisely here. I'm gonna. Okay. I need a bowl. All right. So there's nothing to see here. Where are you located? I'm located in the DMV area. Yeah, located in the DMV area. I live very close to DC. All right, so I'm gonna switch you guys over here because there's nothing to see there. You're just watching a tortilla sear off. But when I'm ready to flip it, I'll bring you guys over as well. All right, so the second dish, as I mentioned, is a tiramisu inspired oatmeal. So we're gonna be using this one. I really like this one. Really, it's the protein content really is what gets me with this product. So for 48 grams of protein, we're gonna be getting 48 grams of oatmeal, we're going to be getting 10 grams of protein. So I'm actually going to measure out the serving size. I actually measure out a lot of my food, again, to be able to make sure that I'm hitting my macros and making sure that I am eating enough. So we're gonna zero this out. So yeah, 48 grams. One thing I like with oatmeal is that it's so filling. Okay, all right. Come on. Okay. All right. Okay, 49 grams, close enough. All right. So this is 49 grams of protein. 49, oh, Jesus, 49 grams of oatmeal. Yeah, let's go back to the crunch wrap because I think it should be good to flip. Okay, not quite. Okay, let's leave this on just a little longer. All right, so we measured out our oatmeal. I'm gonna bring you guys over here to the blender. So I don't know about you guys, but I particularly like my oatmeal blended, like the oatmeal oats blended. I don't like the texture of chunky oatmeal. That's just a personal preference of mine. I just don't. When you blend down the oatmeal oats, it's just like a much more smooth texture, and I enjoy eating it that way. So let's get our blender. I'm gonna add this in. Try not to make a mess. Okay. All right. Close that off. Okay. And then you just blend. All right. Oatmeal is blended. All right. I am positive now that our crunch wrap is ready to be flipped. All right. Look at that. Nice and brown. So that's what you want it to look like. You want it completely sealed off like that. If it is not held down and cooked down long enough, everything will come flying out. And you don't want that. So I'll let the opposite side kind of get a little brown. And then at that point, really, I mean, it's really done now. But just to have both sides crunchy and browned, I'll let that sit for also a few minutes, but not as long as I did for making sure that the bottom was sealed off. So while we wait for that, let's get our stuff for the oatmeal, because now we are going to cook that. Let's see. Do we have a bigger pot? I need a bigger pot. Let's see. I think this is too big, but we'll have to do. That's our milk. All right, we're done with the crunch wrap. Let's come over here. Okay. Okay. Here's our crunch wrap. Alrighty. We'll do the whole, you know how like some cooking influencers, they do all the sounds. All right, so now we're gonna cut this down. Okay. There we go. Look at that. All done. And that's how you make the crunch wrap. All right. So if you want to make this dish, like I said, the live will be kept on. Now, let's make our oatmeal. So turn you guys back around. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to use this big pan. Turn this on. And then we're going to add some milk. I'll let that sit until it starts to boil. Like I said, if any of you guys have any questions, let me know. Put it in the chat. I'm checking periodically in between cooking. All right. So we'll wait for that to boil. So to amplify the protein in this dish, we are going to be adding protein caramel latte protein powder. It has a nice caramel taste to it. We're also going to be adding this in increments. So I have this coffee that I really like, that I actually add to espresso. I'm a caffeine fiend, so if you want to lay off the caffeine, you don't need to add this. But this is a coffee by the brand Slate. They have like different flavors. 20 grams of protein in this one can. Here are the nutrition facts. So 110 calories, 20 grams of protein. And for those of you that are very particular about the ingredients, you have them here. I actually have different flavors of this. Let me see. We have, but actually this one came in like a variety pack. So we have classic chocolate, we have dark chocolate, and then we have the mocha that I just showed you. So we're gonna use the mocha though for this. All right, milk is boiling, so it's good to now start adding in the oatmeal. So let's lower this. Where's the blended oatmeal? So we'll add in the oatmeal. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's let me add in a little bit more milk. We're going to add in 1 scoop of protein powder. Okay. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna use the spatula and just kind of press it down, because ultimately I want the consistency of the oatmeal to be nice and smooth. So now I'll crack open the can of coffee and just add it in incremental. I'm not gonna add the whole can yet. Just kind of like that. And because of all the ingredients that are being added in, it doesn't, I mean, for me personally, I don't add sugar. I don't add like a sweetener or anything like that. Because it's, I mean, we're going to at some point add in yogurt when this whole thing is done. So, like, you don't need additional sugar. If you want to add, that's, you know, obviously that's your prerogative, but I think that it's sweet enough with all the ingredients that are added in. Okay. So just kind of stir that. So I don't know, are you guys familiar with this brand of oatmeal? Where did I put the bag? Because for the longest, I was only familiar with like Quaker Oats. I was in Whole Foods one day and I came across this, and you can see all the just different things that the brand really prioritizes, visibility of how they make their oats, how they make sure that the oats are of quality, different protocol measures that they put in place. You can see the ingredients here. It's literally just oats. It's not a whole bunch of things that probably don't belong in there. So if you're interested in getting it, I found it at Whole Foods. Prior to that, I was very much a Quaker Oats, Quaker Oats kind of person. I mean, that was also the only brand I knew, so. Okay, so I do have this relatively on a high heat, and I don't want it sticking to the bottom of the pot, so just, you know, vigorously stir. And now I'm going to add in more of the can. What I do is just let it cook down, let it cook down, let it cook down, and then add more. The point of this is just to make sure that I am able to use the whole can because I want all of the protein content that is in this can. So that's why you see me kind of stirring, letting it cook, and then adding more. And already, like, the smell of it, it's like very cinnamon-like, caramel-like chocolate because of the mocha from the coffee. It smells really good. Okay. To mimic the tiramisu dish, and again, I'm just kind of letting you guys know ahead of time while we wait. So I'm going to layer the oatmeal with yogurt, vanilla yogurt, and then the top I'm going to dust with cacao powder. I think it'll look really nice. This is just a way of elevating your oatmeal. It does nothing. It adds no value. It's just doing this just makes me feel happy to eating oatmeal because when I was younger, I used to hate oatmeal. Hate it. I just thought it was like boring and like an old person's dish. So I tried. Maybe that also might be why I like to just, you know, jazz up my food and make it a little bit more interesting versus just eating it the traditional way or even making it the traditional way. All right. Okay, so now we're just gonna dump the rest. And at this point, this is when we'll just stir and stir and cook and stir and cook until it's, thickened up. You can see it's very like loose, soup-like right now. But as you've seen, again, throughout the process, it will slowly start to thicken. The oatmeal will soak up some of that liquid. And then we are done. So let's see here. So while that cooks, we're just going to, let me shift you guys over here. I'm just going to put some of the cacao powder in a bowl. We don't need too much. A little definitely goes a long way. Let me see. I don't know why this tripod keeps. Okay, there we go. So the last time I made this dish, I just put the cacao like literally right on top of the oatmeal. But what I'm going to attempt to do, so you guys are going to be a witness of this for the first time, is try layering it. So I'm gonna do, oatmeal. We'll do oatmeal. Hold on one second. Let me stir the oatmeal. Make sure it's like not burning or anything. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is doing a little bit of oatmeal and then layering it with like some of this Chobani yogurt and then a little bit of cacao and then do that again, some oatmeal, some yogurt, and a little bit of cacao. I don't know if that will make sense when I am putting it together. I hope it does. Otherwise, it will be a flop. But that is what I'm going to attempt again, right? Like to mimic that like tiramisu layering that's usually done with the dessert. So we'll see. We'll see if how I'm thinking this will come out actually comes out that way. But in the meantime, let's continue working on our oatmeal. Okay. All right. Let's just bend this down. All right. And for those of you that maybe are just joined midway, right now I'm making the tiramisu inspired oatmeal, but prior to that we made a breakfast supreme crunch wrap. I'm just gonna call it a dupe because it's not, I don't think it's the original. So we're making two different breakfast dishes, one for me, which I'm the one eating the oatmeal, and one for my boyfriend who will be eating the breakfast crunch wrap that I made before. So welcome. This is a channel that is very protein heavy. I focus on protein quite a bit in my videos. Hence the title, Pockets of Protein. So if that's something that you're into, please join join, subscribe. You can check out, I'm very regular on YouTube Shorts. I actually just posted a video. Um, it's like a meal prep video where you can see me and kind of get a sense of my personality. I'm very goofy. I'm not a serious person. I mean, I'm serious when I need to be, but like, I'm very easygoing, and I feel that for me anyway, I think with cooking channels, I think the humanness of who is behind the camera gets lost because obviously the focus is the food. So I try to put in my personality here and there, bring some humanness to my channel by doing videos like that, or even like these lives, um, just so you can hear my voice, you can get a sense of who I am, ask questions, interact. I'm all about humanizing everything I do. So I try to do these lives very often as well, just so that you guys get that interaction with me and get to know who I am and get a better sense of the channel. All right, this is done. I think this is definitely done. All right. All right, so let's move that to the side. And for those of you that joined, maybe you joined and you didn't see the process of the breakfast crunch wrap. I mean, this is what it looks like. Oh, sorry guys, my my tripod is very wonky. But this is what it looks like. Tell me she's not a beauty. I mean, for those of you that were clearly on, you guys know how it came together. But for those of you that were not, this is what it looks like. So that's the first breakfast dish that we made. And the second one now is this tiramisu dish. So let's see if this will be a success. So let me lower you guys so you guys can see what's going on. And I can see what's going on. Okay, we're going to bring this closer. All right. Let's get a scooper. All right, so let's add in now let's see if adding the layer of yogurt will make sense. Hold on, let me shift this. I hope it makes sense. I promise you guys, this is so extra. You do not have to do this, but I also think it's fun. I don't know. Trying out different recipes, seeing how it all comes together. Okay. All right. Now, there's let's put the over. And then layer it again with more oatmeal. I know this oatmeal is about to keep me full for probably the whole day. Which, honestly, I'm not mad at. Okay, I'm just gonna scoop out the remaining. Okay. And imagine like the 48 grams of protein. I mean, why do I keep making that mistake? The 48 grams of oatmeal gives you all of this. I mean, with like the milk and everything else. So, goes to show we cannot underestimate portion sizes. Okay, well, the top is looking kind of stupid, but whatever. See if I can spread it out without it like mixing into the oatmeal. I want it more of like a layer, you know? I don't want it like mixing in. But it's fine. All of this is going into the same stomach, it's not, so it doesn't really matter. All right. Let's add on the cacao. All right, let me take you guys down from the tripod. You can see what's going on here. Oop. So, we have our tiramisu inspired oatmeal here. And then we have our breakfast supreme crunch here. So these are the two breakfasts that I've made this morning. This one is for me, this one is for my boyfriend, and they're both very delicious, very filling, very high protein, and very quick to make. I was able to make this in, 50 minutes based on the live chat or the live time. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Check out the live when it goes live. You can always come back to this. I think it might even go live like literally right after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's quick to make, high protein, healthy. Save yourself Uber Eats money in making brunch. And yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. I hope you guys have a great Sunday, great weekend, a great week. Happy holidays for next week. And I will see you in the next live. Take care, guys. And check me out, subscribe if you like the vibe on this channel, because this live pretty much is what my channel hopefully feels like. So check me out, subscribe if you'd like, and I will see you next time. Take care, guys.